presented by Policybazaar.
CNBC-TV18, the Policybazaar Insurance Show.
Hello and welcome to the Policybazaar Insurance Show. I'm your host Yash Jain, and today's episode is indeed very special. So far, we've brought to you insights on how insurance can protect you and your loved ones. But this week, we're focusing on something more powerful, and that is your questions. In today's episode of the Policybazaar Insurance Show, we'll be answering real viewer queries who faced tough times but found strength thanks to expert support. And to help us understand and answer these queries, today we are joined by Siddharth Singhal, the Business Head Health Insurance at Policybazaar. Welcome, Siddharth, to the show, and let's begin straight away with the first story itself. This one's coming in from Murali. He's from Bangalore.
Hi, my name is Murli. I work for an IT firm in Bangalore as a global manager. And my question is, my initial claim was rejected. Why does this happen? And what steps can I take to avoid such rejections?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Yash, for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be on this show. So I think just straight away addressing the question why the claim can get rejected. In what are the typical scenarios in which a claim can get rejected? So, the policy terms and conditions are different from the and largely when I say policy terms and conditions, it has to do a lot with the waiting period. So if example, somebody is filing for a claim while the disease could be in a pre-existing disease waiting period, generally which is for 3 years now, or it could be in a specific illness disease which is 2 years typically. So in that scenario, a claim may get rejected. That is one. The second thing could be I would say a suspicious when typically in a fraud kind of a situation with the insurance company is looking for the documents, suspect a fraud. And thirdly, I think in a lot of cases where the cases are genuine also, so initially a claim, I would say the cashless request may get rejected when the claim is in a close proximity. So by close proximity, what I mean is somebody has taken a policy today and, just maybe, 30, 40, 50 days later, there's a major claim, a major critical illness claim coming in. In that scenario, insurance companies, typically reject the, maybe a cashless request, but that does not mean the claim is fully rejected. It may require some in-depth verification. It may require some extra documentation to assess the, the genuineness of the claim. So I think apart from these scenarios, most of the claims get passed through. Or if there are any issues, then there are redressal mechanisms available to the customer.
If a claim is denied, what is the exact process to appeal and get it reviewed?
Sure. So, Yash, I think that's a very important question. If a claim is denied for any policyholder, I think the first and the foremost is the role of the channel, the distributor, and a person can obviously reach out to the channel, to the distributor, to the broker from which they have purchased the insurance policy, or directly to the insurance company as well. So one, that is very, very important. And second is you can always reach out to the insurance company. There are, grievance cells specifically related to the claim inquiries, and any thing related to the claim. If a person is still not, finds complete satisfaction from the resolution provided by the insurance company, then the person can move on to the ombudsman and file a complaint in the ombudsman, and a lot of cases get resolved. And then comes in the regulator, and finally the court, in which these are the hierarchy. I would say how a person can look at getting their satisfactory answer at different forums. So I think it's very, very important that you read the policy documents very carefully, buy it from a very reliable, very strong distributor, so that your case can be adequately represented in front of the insurance company. So I think these are the certain mechanisms which are available.
My father's policy has already been used for high claims. Will the renewal premium shoot up?
I will just break that into two parts. One is the premium part, and the benefits in the policy that get accrued over a period of time. So I think so. One part is the no claim bonuses, etc. So a lot of insurance companies, there are a lot of plans which kind of reward a customer with an additional sum insured if there is no claim in the policy. So if somebody has made a claim, so there could be a chance that the sum insured is not added. For example, if I bought a policy of 10 lakh, then it can go up to 20 lakh, 30 lakh if there is no claim. But if there is a claim, then I don't, move from 10 lakh to 20 lakh. On the premium side, I think mostly the insurance companies assess at the portfolio level, keeping in mind the medical inflation as such, how the medical inflation is playing out, how the, overall sustenance of their books is playing out. So I think that gets decided more on the, I would say the premium and the portfolio levels. I think that's how it's. But I think what is also very, very important is, I think in that question is to first have a right sum insured, a higher sum insured, because most of the people, I think they make a mistake that they take a health insurance policy, but mostly it's of, let's say, 5 lakh or 10 lakh rupees, which is grossly inadequate in the times that we live in. And in a city like Delhi, Mumbai, if you go to any major hospital, I think even a week of hospitalization can cost you much more than 10 lakh rupees.
Thank you so much, Siddharth, for rounding that up so well. And the good news today is that Murli's father is recovering very, very well. And we wish him a speedy and a complete recovery. It's stories like these which remind us why the right kind of policy features are so important in any health insurance policy. Well, the next question is coming in from Sakshi. She's from Hyderabad, a lead auditor whose 55-year-old mother was diagnosed with myeloid leukemia. So, Sakshi, what roadblocks did you really face in getting the claim approved? And you can have your question answered directly from the expert.
Can you help me understand why do insurance companies reject the claim sometimes citing in-depth investigation? What is the process involved here?
So I think there are few cases. I would say about 2-3% odd cases to our assessment that are move into in-depth verification. So I think I would just want to kind of clarify that in-depth verification does not mean that the claim is denied. It may mean that the cashless request at that particular point is kind of moved into a reimbursement mode, which also in many cases insurance company complete that in-depth verification within the hospital stay itself. So in-depth verification would mean that for example, 2-3 things. One could be, let's say, the declaration that you made at the time of policy purchase vis-a-vis what is declared at the time of hospitalization. If there is some sort of a dissonance between that, then the insurance company may call in for in-depth verification. Verification may not necessarily mean that the claim is denied. A lot of claims are paid and paid within a certain time frame, so that the customer does not suffer.
Just curious to know if there is a way to track an ongoing claim in a real-time basis so that I'm not left in dark.
So I think yes, absolutely. Now with the advent of digital technologies, you can very well track your claims, status of your claims, where your claim is currently there. On Policybazaar application, our customers can track what is the current status of their claim. They can file their claim, they can track the status, and they can upload the documents as well. And similarly, on the all the insurance companies have enabled that facility on their mobile applications, on their different platforms. So it's very much possible for a customer to track their claims.
On that note, let's take a very short break. But when we come back, we speak about more customer queries, which we've lined up for our viewers on the other side of this very short break.
CNBC-TV18, the Policybazaar Insurance Show. CNBC-TV18, the Policybazaar Insurance Show.
Welcome back to the Policybazaar Insurance Show. And as promised, we move on to the next customer query. And for this, let's head to Pune to meet Rakesh Soni. His 66-year-old father was hospitalized 9 times in a year, and this was due to kidney failure. With the expenses of this nearly going to 17 lakhs, His claim was initially rejected due to something called close proximity. Rakesh, welcome to the show. And of course, our expert is right here with us to answer your query.
My claim was first rejected because of close proximity. What does that mean in insurance terms?
Close proximity means, as the name suggests, that if there is a claim which is right after, or very soon after the policy is purchased, which means I bought a policy today, and maybe 2 months, 3 months down the line, there is a claim in the policy, in which is generally classified as close proximity from an insurance company point of view. What it means is that insurance company tries to ascertain whether that condition was already pre-existing, which was not declared in the policy, or whether it's a genuine case. So typically, this kind of a situation needs some sort of a verification at the insurance company end, and this is generally happens for or such scenarios only. Obviously this does not include accidents. So accidents typically can happen at any point in time, but if somebody has bought a policy and 2 months, 3 months down the line has filed for a claim for cancer, or any major heart transplants or knee replacements or any other kind of conditions. So in that scenario, these claims can get categorized as close proximity, and the insurance company may call in for verification.
If a disease is diagnosed soon after the policy inception, does it always fall under pre-existing conditions?
No, so in fact, pre-existing condition, by the name, as the name suggests, is the condition that you are suffering at the time of policy purchase, or you've been suffering in the past. But if somebody purchases a policy and maybe 2 3 months down the line develops a disease, then it does not qualify as a pre-existing condition, which obviously can happen to anybody for that matter. I think pre-existing by definition is very clear that it is at the time of purchase what you declare. So on that basis, the insurance company takes a decision to put up a pre-existing disease waiting period. But if it is diagnosed post purchase, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or maybe a year later, then it does not qualify as a pre-existing condition.
How can I prove to the insurer that the illness started after the policy purchase?
I would just break that into two parts. One part is at the time of policy purchase, it's extremely important that you declare the medical conditions for any member which are being covered in the policy. Be it that condition happened, a while back, maybe a few years back, or you're currently suffering, or you had any kind of a surgery. That is one part of it. The second part, if if there is a condition which got developed post purchase, you can submit all the medical documents which are available at your disposal to the insurance company, stating that this disease got developed at a later stage. And at this point in time, if there is a kind of a disconnect or dissonance between the insurance company, that is where a strong broker, a strong distributor like Policybazaar comes into play, which can independently assess and obviously support the customer to represent the case rightly in to the insurance company. What we the team also does a lot of I would say hand holding for the customer, so that the claim is adequately paid and is also kind of proven that the illness may be started later on. I think that is very, very important. And lastly, I would say is claim samadhan is a opportunity for the customer, and at Policybazaar, we take a great pride in terms of bringing the customer, the insurance company all together under one roof. Any dissonance is kind of dissipated. So a person and a customer is given a fair platform and is given a fair hearing to kind of present the case rightly.
For conditions like kidney failure that requires multiple hospitalizations, what's the ideal sum insured and policy type?
See, I think it's a very, very pertinent question, because a condition like kidney failure can require multiple hospitalization, and each hospitalization can, really cost a whole amount, which is a significant amount. So I think in that scenario, what we recommend to each and every customer is now two options. One, you can go for at least 25 lakh rupees is a sum insured. If you're living in a metro, that I would say is a minimum. But ideally recommended would be 1 crore sum insured or unlimited sum insured now, which is available in a couple of plans, so that all your scenarios are covered, or most of your scenarios are covered. Because each of one see. Any such chronic illnesses can require multiple hospitalization, and the bill can run into 40, 50, 60 lakhs, or even higher, depending on the severity of the condition. In fact, there are so many guests on the show that the claim amounts have gone up to 70 lakh or even higher, even up to a crore or more. So I think that is a, I would say, a humongous amount of money, which any family in India, it's very very difficult to pay that money. And specifically, when you're right there at the hospital, it's extremely difficult. So I think it's very important that you take at least 1 crore of sum insured, so as to kind of prevent any scenarios. And ideally, now you can move on to unlimited sum insured, so that any such scenarios or any major scenarios are covered, and your family is financially protected.
Given my father's age and health, how can I make sure further claims are not delayed or denied?
So I think a couple of things that you one can take is, one, obviously ensure the right sum insured, that is there. The second is, in case there is a planned hospitalization, do inform your insurance company, and obviously your broker distributor, or if you are a Policybazaar customer, you can inform us, so that accordingly the insurance company is intimated about the claim, and the pre-approval can come in, and the hospital admission is seamless. That is one thing. Second thing is, I think, look at if your policy currently has any kind of a co-payment or a sublimit, so that you don't come in for a shock at the time of claim. So I think it's very very important that you should assess that, if there is any room rent restrictions, if there is any co-payment, if there's any deductible, if there are any sublimits on certain diseases. So I think all these 4 5 things one must take care of. The third thing I would say is, in case there is any disease that is developed during the policy, it's always good to inform your insurance company as well about it. So I think once you have all these things in place, there is no reason for the claim to be for any adverse impact on claim.
Well, let's move to the last policyholder for today's episode, and that is Mr. Siddharth Singhal from Mumbai. He's president at Peninsula Land.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So, one of the questions that I would like to ask is that, even if a policy has a higher coverage amount of, let's say, 30 lakhs, and if the hospital submits an estimate of, let's say, 15 lakhs, normally what I have seen in my experience is that the insurer gives a pre-authorization of only the 50% of the estimate that's been submitted. So, insurer might give a pre-authorization of only 7.5 lakhs. In this kind of a scenario, during long hospital stays of more than 20 days or so, this leads to a lot of out of pocket expenses for the insured person, because the pre authorization is only 50%. So, why do insurers only go for a 50% of the sum 50% of the estimate as a pre authorization, while even though the sum insured is far higher?
So I think it's a very, very important question, and I think it addresses a large part of the consumer market. And in fact, as a policyholder we feel. See, I think any hospitalization, in many scenarios, there are two types of scenario. One is a fixed length that, for example, if somebody is going for a 2-day hospitalization or a 3-day hospitalization, whereas the estimate is fairly accurate, vis-a-vis certain treatments wherein the length of stay may or may not be ascertained at the time of admission. Pre-authorization is provided by the insurance company basis the initial estimates by the hospitals. I think in this scenario, what can happen is, since the customer should not be in a situation to pay the money from their own end, I think the customer can reach out to, again, the broker distributor to get the pre-authorization amount extended, so that it can very well cover the daily expenses, and the customer does not need to pay from from their own pocket. And that's the whole point of health insurance. In certain cases, what happens is, since the estimates are very initial, there are also a lot of, I would say, contracts between the insurance company and the hospitals. So I think basis the initial estimates, insurance company does provide certain pre-authorization amount. And at the time of discharge, once the treatment is completed, the customer is ready to be discharged. The whole that estimate is turned into an actual basis, which the insurance company, if somebody's treatment finally ends up at, let's say, 15 lakh, then the insurance company, adjusts that entire amount basis that. Now, the second part of it is that what are the amounts. So now, in fact, and this is where I would come in, that a rider like consumables can help you get a lot of amount, because that's generally a deductible. That was, let's say, 10% of the hospital bill. So if 15 lakh is the hospital bill, then 10% would be about 1.5 lakh would be dedicated towards consumables amount, which was earlier, pre-COVID era, that amount wasn't payable because the insurance companies was not covering those expenses in their in their policy. But now a lot of insurance companies in their plans have consumables as a rider, which makes this 1.5 lakh also a payable amount. So I think in this process, I would say that if in case the customer feels that the bill is running past the pre-authorization amount, then the customer can, or the policy holder can reach out to the broker, to distributor, and request the insurance company to increase the pre-authorization amount, so that the customer does not need to pay from their end. And like I would say that a lot of customers do come, and we request all the Policybazaar customers to come in case they face any such issues, or the person can be sent to the hospital from Policybazaar end to ensure that these nitty-gritties are solved. The customer faces a completely hassle-free claims experience.
With that, we come to a close as far as customer queries and the answers from our expert are concerned. It was very insightful in understanding certainly these queries and how they were answered real time. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for answering each of those questions in so much details. I'm sure they were helpful to, of course, all the people asking those questions and all the people, of course, watching the show itself. And as always, we come to a close as far as the episode itself is concerned. We tried putting some positive stories in today's episode, claim stories rather, because the belief certainly is that only positive stories will attract more policyholders, and hope that happens. Thank you so much, Siddharth, again. And we'll come back soon with the next episode, very soon, with new guests. Till then, keep watching and stay safe, stay insured. Thank you so much.
CNBC-TV18, the Policybazaar Insurance Show.